It's Christmas Eve and my name is Sam, aka Lymphoma Lass. I suspect some of my friends may be enjoying drinks with these kind of corks, Prosecco or champagne or fizzy wine corks. And out of these I've made some little reindeer that either can be hung on the tree or can stand on your mantelpiece. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today. So let's move these critters out of the way. So to start with, I've got some red and gold baker's twine, and I'm going to give myself a generous amount of baker's twine and have a loop in it, twist it round my finger and make a knot, which I pull tight to make the hanger. Then I'm going to bring in the cork and the knot is going to go at the top of the cork. I'm going to turn it round to the bottom of the cork and I'm going to tie what I believe is called a reef knot. So I'm going to tuck this bit under and through. So I've got my knot there. I'm just going to tighten that and check it's at the opposite side. Good and tight. Fold the loose end over and then under a second time and then tighten. Then I'm going to turn over my cork and I'm going to have the strings in front of the loop and I'm going to tie a bow. So there's loads of ways people are taught to tie a bow when they're children. This is the way I was. So one loop over, then under, like you're doing half a reef knot, and then tighten, and then make two loops. There's one loop, that's the other loop, and cross them over each other. And then you tighten. So to make a neat bow, I'm just going to pull these in a bit and gradually tighten and pull in and tighten again till I've got two nice little even bow loops that are the same size and look pretty. You could do this with ribbons, that would be very pleasant. But baker's twine is nice too, especially with the gold thread for it. And I suspect I'm going to be making quite a few of these over the next few days because I've been collecting the corks. You could use a normal cork, but this type of cork works better because you have then a nice head area. So I'm going to cut it and I'm going to cut the second string and then I've got a loop and a bow. There we go. And I save all my little ends for, among other things, paper making. So I've now got a button for nose and two wiggly eyes, as we call them in the UK, to give the animal some character. So these I'm going to stick on. You could use beads or buttons for the eyes as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm upturning my cork. I've got it facing you. I know which is that's for the head bit, and I just need to put some glue on. I'm using Yoo-Hoo Extra for this. You don't need much. I tried using glue gun glue, but I found it was too bulky, it didn't adhere as well, so that's why I'm using this glue. Tips for wise: place your eyes a certain width apart. If they're a little bit wider apart, they come across as cuter. You don't want a narrow-eyed reindeer. So I'm just going to leave that there to dry for a minute. Now, on my previous reindeer I've made, I've got antlers, ears, 4 legs and a tail, so it can shake its booty. So I'm going to get those off a chenille stick. In the UK these are also called pipe cleaners. So I'm going to start by cutting out the legs. So what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to find a tip of it, turn that over to make a foot, turn it up at right angles, and then I'm going to cut off enough to be a cute little leg. You can make these legs shorter or longer depending on your preference. And I need to make 4 of these, you see. So because we're using pipe cleaners, they've got wire in them. So I'm measuring them against each other to get them about the same length, so that my reindeer doesn't look too drunk. But they're basically wire, and they have a sharp wire end, so I wouldn't recommend this little reindeer for smaller children, because they might scratch themselves, scratch an eye. So think of safety as to where you place these in your home if you've got small children. So I'm quietly making 4 little legs and feet. So I've got four little legs and feet. The next thing I need is the antlers. And what I've done for the antlers is I've cut 2 pieces and twisted them together. So I'm going to just cut the 2 main pieces and make them about the same length. So that's the feet. And these are antlers. Pardon my washing machine, it's just going on a spin cycle, I think. So I'm going to have a little offshoot like that off the antler. So I'm going to cut a smaller piece for each of the antlers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist them together. So I've got the smaller piece under the larger piece, and I'm just going to give it some robust twists. Clearing away the spare fluff as I go. Same, I'm going to put them together, and I'm just going to, I've got one underneath the other, so I've got the shorter one underneath the longer one, and I'm just going to twist. Just be careful because the sharp ends can be a little sharp. So I've then got two antlers. So I've got 4 legs. I'm learning Welsh, so that's Indai Tree Peda. And then I've got my 2 antlers, and with the antlers I need some ears. So I'm going to twist over on itself a little piece like that, snip it off for the antler, sorry, for the ear, and I'm going to twist another one and snip that off for the ear for that one. And this one's a tiny bit short for what I want for the tail, so I'm going to just take a new bit of chenille wire or pipe cleaner, and I've just twisted it together, slightly longer than the ear, to make the tail. So that's going to be my tail. So I've got all the pieces now. I've got the antlers, the tail, and the legs. The legs, the antlers and ears, and the tail. So, now this is the stage at which to be careful. Your face is unlikely to be dry yet and set. So try not to grab it by an eye or nose. So I'm going to put on a hole with a pair of sharp embroidery scissors for each antler, just to give me something to put the antler into, the end into. I'm going to do something similar, just give myself a bit of a hole for where to put the tail, and then I'm going to do the same on the bottom for the legs. Now these don't need to be perfectly spaced, because actually comic reindeer are quite fun, more fun. It just gives your legs and your other parts something to adhere to. So for the tail, I'm just going to turn it over to try and put something into the hole. So now I'm going to start by adding the legs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a blob of glue on the wire which I'm going to put into each hole for each leg. Just being careful of which way round the foot is. And if you need to, spread the glue a bit with your finger if it doesn't quite go in the right place. So, with a bit of glue on the leg, and with the foot facing forwards or sideways, whichever you prefer, I'm putting that in. Basically they'd be facing forward, wouldn't they, generally? Now once this is dried, it will be very much more robust, but it isn't while it's wet. So in the tail, I'm going to put a bit of glue on the tip of the base of the tail. And I've put that in the end, and then I've just got the little antlers and ears to do. So I'm first doing the antlers. And then the ears in front of the antlers. And there you have it. Not forgetting to put your top on your glue. There you have your reindeer. Now what I would advise is you may want to position the angles of the legs, giving him knees, change the angle of the antlers, but wait until he's properly dried, the glue's properly dried. So I'd wait a couple of hours at least. As you can see, there's a little sharp bit sticking out there, so these are definitely ornaments, not toys for children. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial. Have a very, very good Christmas.